Hi, this week's topic is US geography. So we're going to be talking about the states and regions in the US. So to begin with, the United States is divided into five regions: the Northeast, the Southeast, Southwest, West, and Midwest. And included in the West, you can see Alaska and Hawaii are also part of this region. Now, the regions are basically named after points on the compass, so it gives you an idea of where the region is located. Now, the reason we have these different regions is because they share similar characteristics and they are kind of similar to each other, the states in each area. So you can find similarities in history, in the traditions they have, in economy and industry, politics, climate, and also, of course, in geography. To illustrate this with an example, we can take a look at the map of politics in the United States, and you can see the red states are states that, for example, support Donald Trump and are Republican, whereas the blue states support Joe Biden and are Democratic. And you can see these very much, or to a certain degree, follow the regions. So the Northeast is, for example, Democratic, where a lot of the South is Republican, and then again, most of the West is Democratic. So you can see the similarities in this in politics. And another issue is, for example, according to poverty, where you can see the states in the south, there's a higher percentage of poor people living in these states compared to the states in the west, the Midwest, or the Northeast. And you will find similarities like this in the regions across a lot of fields. So to look a bit more closer at each of the regions to see what makes this region different from the other areas, we're going to start with the Northeast. This is the smallest but most densely populated region. This is also, just to bring up the map again, this is also the region, the Northeast, that became the United States first. These are like the 13 original colonies, so they have a lot of shared history. In addition, it's also the region with the political and financial center of the United States. So in New York, for example, you will find Wall Street, which is the financial center. It is also the most industrialized region, so there's a lot of factories and industry in the Northeast. However, a lot of this industry has become old-fashioned, and the factories have been outsourced to different countries. So a lot of the factories are now basically empty, not functioning. So this is what they call the Rust Belt, because the factory is just rusting away. The largest cities in this area are New York, Philadelphia, and Boston. New York is the largest city overall in the United States. I think Philadelphia is about fifth. The climate is kind of like what we have in Norway. So we have warm summers and cold winters and snow in the winter. And considering this is the most densely populated region, it is also quite a lot of woods and landscape area that are not populated at all. So over half of the Northeast is wooded area. Landmarks in the region include the Appalachian Mountains, which go from the northeast all the way down to Georgia in the south. You also have two of the Great Lakes in the northeast, Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. And you might have heard of Niagara Falls from before. This is a famous waterfall, which is on the border to Canada in the northeast. So this is just some of the characteristics and some of the landmarks that you can find in the northeast. Moving on to the Midwest, this is farm country. So it's very often referred to as the breadbasket or America's heartland. On the map, you can see the Midwest is here, and the blue part is what they call the Corn Belt. So this is a lot of farms that grow crops such as wheat and other kinds of corn. And the green part is what they call the dairy belt. So this would be cattle and cows, and they produce a lot of, for example, cheese and milk in this area. This region is also culturally impacted by a lot of Scandinavians settled here when they migrated from Norway, Sweden, Denmark, also a lot of Germans. So there's a lot of Scandinavian traditions and cultures in this region. The biggest city in the area is Chicago, and Detroit, for example, is known as Motor City because the car industry was located here. It's not as much now associated with the car industry. However, still a lot of American-produced cars are coming out of Detroit. The landscape is like what you see in this image, flat and open landscape, a lot of cornfields. And when it comes to landmarks, you have, for example, Mount Rushmore, which is a mountain with four faces carved into the mountainside of former American presidents. Yeah, so moving on to the next region, the Southeast. The Southeast is very often called also the Deep South. And you will find these states in the Southeast like Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, in addition to these others. The largest cities in the region are Jacksonville, Atlanta, Miami, and Nashville. Miami is particularly famous for its beaches and kind of like holidays and stuff like that. Nashville is associated with country music. This region was first settled by Eastern Europeans, and it has remnants of this culture is still strong in the region. The main industry or the main crops that they produce from this area are cotton and tobacco. And for example, Georgia is associated with fruits such as peaches, Florida with oranges. So this is a very warm region. Landmarks, if you're talking about natural landmarks, you can find the Appalachian Mountains also here. They go from the northeast all the way down to Georgia, and the Everglades, which is a swamp area in Florida that is well known for alligators. There are also several tourist attractions in the region. For example, a lot of Civil War sites. There is a museum and memorials to Martin Luther King in Atlanta. You have Disney World and you have New Orleans. So there's a lot for people to see in this region as well. Moving on to the southwest, this is the region with the fewest states, Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas. This is the region that is least influenced by European immigrants. This is because it was once owned by Mexico. So Mexico and Latin America has a strong impact on the culture in this region. In addition, Native American culture is also big in the region because there's still a lot of Native Americans who live here. The largest cities are Houston, Dallas, and Phoenix. Houston and Dallas are in Texas, Phoenix in Arizona. And the economy or the industries is based on oil and a lot of cattle. The most famous landmarks in the region are the Grand Canyon and the Rocky Mountains and the Rio Grande River that goes along the southern border between the USA and Mexico. The final region is the West, and the West is very often associated basically with California, but it does include a lot of other states as well, not least Alaska and Hawaii, which are not connected to the mainland United States at all. The largest cities in the area are Los Angeles in California, Las Vegas in Nevada, and Seattle, which is in Washington. This is also a region that is very often hit by natural disasters. So it does have like wildfires and earthquakes, and they had in recent years. And the main industry or economy is based on in the north of this region, fishing and lumber. And then when you come down to California, you have like Hollywood and film production. You have Silicon Valley, which is computers and technology, and then also wine production in Southern California. Major landmarks or natural landmarks in the region include the Mojave Desert, the Rocky Mountains, and Yellowstone, the natural park. Yellowstone, which includes a geyser called Old Faithful. So there's a lot in this region as well that sets it apart from the other regions. So this is basically just a short video to introduce you guys to these 5 regions and how it kind of how you can kind of view the different regions as having similar characteristics and elements in them that makes you kind of easier to understand how big and different this country really is. There's a few assignments for you guys to work on. I'm going to make a video after that gives you a bit of information about that as well. But bye for now, guys.